This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Carbonite. We go to colonial America in this new installment of the open-world stealth game, Assassin's Creed 3.
Welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week of content for you. Today we are taking a look at Assassin's Creed 3.
Whoa! Big, that's big.
That is big.
And luckily we're doing that on Monday because Tuesday is the apocalypse.
Really?
Darren Brown's apocalypse. We're checking that out. Oh, crazy idea for a show, really.
Yeah. And then on Wednesday, we are kickstarting your life with our takes on some Kickstarters that are out there.
Very nice. Thursday, you love it, we love it. It's time for Versus. The list must be honed.
And Friday we're reviewing what sounds to be the most delicious movie of the year, Life of Pi.
Ooh.
Which
turns out it's cranberry.
Better than cake, it turns out, too.
Yes. Speaking of Assassin's Creed 3, come on, Dan. This is reminiscent of a Star Wars game.
Very cool. I love the subtle use
Force
of the
Unleashed
logo in the background. That is very cool.
Yes.
This was sent in by
Blake
Gentry.
Gentry.
Which is the polar opposite of Blake Lively. If you're Gentry, you do a Gentry or you do a Lively. Lively or Gentry.
Life of Pi week.
Life of Pi. Yeah.
Thank you for sending in that background, Blake. We appreciate it.
Let's get started.
Assassin's Creed 3 is here, and it is summing up, completing the trilogy, the story of Desmond Miles, who is the guy in the present, whose ancestors throughout history have all been members of the Assassin's Guild, and he's uncovering secrets from science fiction craziness in the present by stepping back all through his various ancestors. This one, we are now in the colonial American Revolutionary times. Interestingly, when we first were talking about the idea of an Assassin's Creed, I keep doing that.
Assassin's Creed 3.
I want to say Assassin's Creed. But when we were talking about that, I remember I was like, oh man, it would be so awesome if it was in the American Revolution.
I think you said that after the first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
I don't think it was about Assassin's Creed 3. I think you said, wouldn't it be cool, when we got news of Assassin's Creed 2, you're like, it'd be cool if it was in Revolutionary War.
I really wanted that, and I remember you saying, what I want, you did say it was stupid, but you say that about most things I say.
Yeah.
But
well,
no, you.
Also, let's be fair.
You're right. You're mostly right. But no, what you said.
Japan?
The whole point of me bringing this up is you said I want modern day.
Yes.
Parkour.
Eventually.
And we kind of get both in this.
That was in the last. They've been having their dibble dabbles in modern.
I feel like there's more here than there was.
I think there's a little. I think each time it gets more and more to eventually what I'm hoping. What I think is so cool about this franchise. Sorry, there's literally something in my eye. Sorry.
I can't even say.
Chip, I'm a robot.
I think one of the coolest things, though this franchise, I mean, it gets very esoteric, but there is something cool. So, like, especially if there was that what the F moment at the end of the first one with all the symbols on the wall, and it like, if we could literally trace what could be 10 games from now, like.
Well, there's
every era, like they called it in the beginning, and like eventually we're playing modern times.
That'd be awesome. Like
and
the
then later
on
we're
the walls
playing.
And the end of the first had like revolutionary.
And then we're in the future, like we're in the future world.
I don't think they planned it out that well, but
it probably.
There is a moment. I don't know if you guys noticed in this game. There's a moment where you can go and talk to the British dude. And if you just keep mashing the buttons,
that's everybody.
No, but not in colonial times. In modern, like the British member of the team.
I was like, you could talk to the British dude in the game where you talk to hundreds of thousands of British people.
No,
that. More specific, Jeff.
Your team of your dad.
Yeah, you can just mash the button. He'll just kind of spout off. It's really interesting, actually, stuff. But it seems like they're hinting at. He goes, after this adventure's done, it would be cool if we could go back and see the beginning of civilization. And I was like. Oh my God,
Stone
like
Age.
A caveman Assassin's Creed would be amazing.
Yeah.
But that's totally sidetracked. Tell me what you think. I know you love this franchise.
Yeah. Well, there's been valleys in those peaks,
right?
For sure.
Assassin's Creed 1 being a valley.
No, I liked Assassin's Creed 1.
There was a
big valley.
Yeah.
Alex and I thought it was a valley.
It was the valley of horse walking.
Assassin's Creed 1. This is one of my favorite games.
The third one.
Yes.
Not just the franchise, but
this Assassin's Creed 3 specifically is, I think, the best by far for a number of reasons. It's almost overwhelming to talk about because there is so much to talk about. There's more to talk about in this game than I think any game we've ever played. I think there's so many slivers inside the game. Each one of them could be its own game. Maybe not its own $40 or $60 title, but I mean, the naval missions in the game where you're playing as, maybe it's because I'm in Pirates of the Caribbean mode, I've revisited those movies, and like, really feels like you are piloting, would you call it that?
No.
Captaining?
Yes.
Captaining a massive vessel. As much as we loved when we checked out Empire, Total War, those games where it's like real pirating, but it's top down, like there seemed to be some immersion there. This is like, you are in this thing. I love the mechanic. It's actually fun. The mechanics work. It doesn't feel like an afterthought, sidetrack, side mission thing.
Yeah, there's more to it than just an arcadey version that doesn't have any semblance to reality. Like, you really do have to deal with wind direction and all that stuff.
Yes.
But it's not so far that it's like
that you're just like bored.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
really would be like, which
Yeah.
is like this.
Trim the sail again. Trim the sail again. What sail?
Yeah.
So that is incredible. The frontier missions, about all this you can decide to do or not to do. And I think the worst case scenario, you'll have the worst time playing this game if you just power through the story. I think the best thing to do playing Assassin's Creed 3 is to play some story missions, then go do some frontier stuff, then go back to story, then go do some naval stuff. Then that is my lesson from playing the game. But the frontier missions, doing what you normally do on traversing a city in trees. First of all, how much do you want to play a Tarzan game?
Well, it should be. It's the kind of thing that should be ridiculous. I know. Like, I'm shocked that they made it as cool as they made it, and it didn't seem like.
Well, also, they were really good at making the trees seem like they were just trees,
Right.
Yes.
rather than
Platforms.
trees with platforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like
And yet there are
Uncharted.
trees with platforms.
Right. You can see your path.
Yeah.
So you can see where you want to go, but it doesn't look like,
that's-
doesn't stick out like a sore
Yeah.
thumb.
The reason why I say, oh my god, I want a Tarzan game is the way that you traverse this topiary, or what, is that the right word?
Topiary?
Yeah, is like the
Forest could work.
Disney cartoon, but you're like the top. I don't know. Is like the Disney cartoon version of Tarzan. The way that he navigated was like a surfer or a skateboarder skating, and it feels so exhilarating to ride across the streets, and you really can. It's not like Uncharted where you see the glowing path and
Right.
you can just do that one thing and that's
Yes.
it. You're just spamming the button. This, you gracefully glide where you need to go, but you really do choose your path. You really can choose how you want to do it, and you can mess it up, you can do it wrong. But when you do it right, and it encourages you to do it right, you tend to do it right, and it always feels good when you do it
They
right.
also made an upgrade with removing the necessity to hit the A button every time
think
you
that
were
was a
transitioning.
huge deal.
It was amazing because there was always something a little herky-jerky about the movements in Assassin's Creed, where like if you didn't time your button press, it was like.
Or half
dead
the time I
stop.
would just leap backwards to my doom.
Exactly, and so
Yeah.
having a fast run or a traversal trigger on, like I'm doing it now, and then when it's a big gap and stuff, you still need to do it. That was a big improvement.
Huge
Totally.
improvement.
And so then on top of that, there's the peg leg trinket missions that have been were labeled differently in the other games. I forget what they were called, but these are the more linear, like platformy, have to like figure out the way to get there. They're less open worldy, but they are like action set piece sequences that are phenomenal on top of the story missions of Assassin's Creed. That the fact that I'm interacting with Benjamin Franklin, I'm a part of parts of history that maybe because I had less education than most when I'm playing the Da Vinci Italian missions, and before that Israel, I didn't know that history as well as I know my own country's history. So being a part of the Boston Tea Massacre, you know, all
Boston
that, the Tea
Tea
Party.
Massacre.
No, and the massacre that was before that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that I
yeah.
remember at the beginning of the John Adams pilot.
I'm gonna kill
right?
the
I'm like,
shit out of this
and you're- But it does the like Forrest Gump thing.
Yeah,
where you're a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're causing those things.
And it just adds
I'm
a
gonna
layer
kill this
of
tea here.
intense.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna massacre
Is-
the hell out of it.
It's so awesome, and then I love the overall fiction where you are in modern times, and it's that whole end of the world stuff that have been accruing through the other things. Though I get that's the most esoteric, but more importantly, I mean, I read some negativity going in about there's a lengthy tutorial, and for me, I never saw it as a lengthy tutorial in the game. I saw it as the opposite of Red Dead Redemption, where and really you see real character development in the game. You really, which we were talking about with Star Wars
you mean they're
sequels
calling
and-
that first thing a tutorial?
Yeah, to me, it's not. To me, you're playing the game.
It's a prelogue
Sort
or
of
whatever.
semantics, but
Right.
you are learning.
But
But
you-
4 hours into the game, you're still learning the
How to-
basics
yeah, I
of
guess
how to
that's
do
But there's
things.
so many
Yeah.
games in this game. Like, when else are you gonna learn how to do the naval thing? And the
Yeah,
fact that
it's
you're like,
more of a semantic argument.
I think
Yeah.
you really feel the story. There's so much just that mechanic helps the immersion, let alone the incredible graphics. One of the best scores for a video game. It's a little derivative, but it's phenomenal. And just being inside and unfortunately, I mean, it's just a big game. I haven't even made it to New York yet, which I cannot wait to see
in
New York.
life or in the game.
In the game.
You can make it there,
and
you can make it anywhere.
Right. But Boston is incredible. It's like, you know, I'm looking around all the nooks and crannies, the way you experience Skyrim or whatever. It's such a hard, it's so amazing.
Did you do any of the big battles, like the Battle of Lexington? Or
No, I
something
haven't
before?
done, I haven't done
Those
any
are
of those
crazy.
big battles.
They're literally, it's like hundreds of guys shooting, and you need to like wait for the volley and then run around because your job is to
Amazing.
go kill one person.
I want to hear what you think, but I want to ask you one more question before,
Yes.
before we get to Alex, and that is, it's interesting to me that you brought up Red Dead because I think that's an easy comparison, and it does seem to me that this game, more than any of the other Assassin's Creeds, feels more like a Rockstar game than it does the previous Assassin's Creed games.
In what way do you mean that, though?
I think the way the story is delivered, the way the open world works, did you feel like it was more?
Well, the way I liked it, similar as Red Dead, is the space. Red Dead really made me feel like, oh yeah, in the West, it like took a while to get to that place, and it's like I really felt like this is what it would be like in the late 1700s. Amazing, but also, why I poo-pooed when you first brought up Revolutionary War times, when you were just like, oh my God, wouldn't it be cool? Yeah, and I was like, well, I don't get it. It's not a congested city. It's not. Da-da-da. And I realized this game has now become less of a just running across rooftops, and it's more like a regular, like an open world GTA an open world game, an adventure game, or like Fable, whatever. But you have this awesome mechanic where you can go soar across rooftops. Like
it's Red Dead with superpowers.
It feels more like a regular game. And that's what's cool is I realized that, oh yeah, I can do any setting now. Because even if I can glide across trees, so when you say caveman, the old me would go, that's stupid. How do you? But no, it's like I don't mind this mechanic. It's a new
Well,
me.
I don't think I'm not a big fan of the connection with Red Dead in this, and mainly it's because I really disliked Red Dead, and I think it was because with this game, all of the Assassin's Creed games were amazing until a point, and it was the point when it goes, all that stuff that you were doing, the cool story, the linear progression, and the cool character design and fun, and okay, that was all just sort of to set you up to, yeah, you can do whatever you want in the city. And I always, at that point, I always went, oh, right. These are open world, take the quest to get the thing, or you can do this whenever you want, and all that stuff. That was always what turned me off, because I don't like those games. And which is why I was turned off by Red Dead, because you get to a point where it's like, now just hang out in here for 6 weeks.
You feel the freedom of that. It leaves you stranded. You don't feel like you're guided enough down a path.
I feel like the things that are the side things are so less focused on by the developers that they are not fun. They're boring things. I don't want to go sit down and play poker with somebody. I don't want to go have to just find all this stuff.
Poker.
I like playing poker, but I don't like to play poker when I'm trying to play a shoot 'em up fun action game with cool story.
The
You know what I
game in
mean?
this was pretty rad though difficult.
Say what?
What was it called? Like Dead Man's Checkers or something?
Oh no, but
play that?
but the whole thing is
It was something like
this.
that. Dead Man's
But the whole thing is that's not what this game is, and that's why I think it's hard. I don't like the comparing it to Red Dead, because that's not what this is. You can go straight forward and have a very full. I like the idea of the world in which you are doing your story is big, open, and feels alive. So I like the fact that I know I could talk to that person and go do that thing, but I don't want to, and I don't have to. But it feels comforting to know that if ever I get to a point where I'm like, woo, I just need a breather, I can go do those things because I'm in that type of game. You know what I mean? But it doesn't force me to go, okay, now we need to show you that this is an open world game, so the story's gonna stop until you do some of these open world things that you hate. That's where with Red Dead I was like, check out.
I don't get that, but.
But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Totally agree with Dan. Great game. Best Assassin's Creed 3 game I've played.
It is.
I have only played one.
Of all the Assassin's Creed 3 games, this is the best.
Best
Well,
Assassin's
actually,
Creed.
there is another one on the Vita.
Oh yeah, we haven't played Liberation.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah.
But for me, this is the best Assassin's Creed game. Gorgeous. I think really tying it in, and you nailed it, Dan. You know, tying in a history that you actually have some connection to and know more about. You know, I mean, it's cool to see Da Vinci, but that's just sort of like a gag, you know what I mean? Because I don't really know much about Da Vinci except for what, you know what I mean? Like, he has no connection to my life.
But that's more about you than it is about the game.
No, it's true, but I think for most people...
The Europeans playing the Assassin's Creed
Yeah, but I
games.
think for most people, it
don't
doesn't
count.
have the same resonance
America
as,
is the only
you know,
country that counts.
No,
Come
but
on,
I'm just
let's
saying, it's a different, it's not
yeah.
like historical events that were unfolding. It's not like everybody knows about the, you know, King whatever's the Vatican push of the 90 whatever. This is like, everybody knows about the Boston Tea Party. Everybody knows about the Revolutionary War. Everybody knows about the Battle of Lexington, the Battle of Concord. You know what I mean? Like, those are historical moments that
Well,
the
in America,
world know.
but-
America, but I also think you guys are specifically coming at it from an East Coast. You have an East Coast bias here.
Oh, maybe.
Which is you grew up. That's where you grew up.
Think about that.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
And-
Yeah, we would go. I went to Gettysburg.
Yeah,
As a field
I
trip.
could give you guys
Yeah,
a
me
cer on the missions.
Santa Maria's or
and,
whatever. Yeah.
And I have no idea
Father
what that
Junipero
is.
Serra.
That's interesting.
Right, if that was...
That's funny.
That's
okay, so that
interesting.
definitely is a thing.
Yeah. That's
But I
interesting.
really, but also I really enjoyed, as Dan said, this is a great example of a game that isn't just a jack of all trades, master of none. Every little thing that they do that is a different type of gameplay is enjoyable and fun in its own way. And usually you get these things where it's like, the naval battles is a great example where they're like, okay, we're gonna have naval battles. Okay, just get some naval battles and throw them in there so we have them. You know what I mean? Figure it out. Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, but with this, it's like the different types of mission things. It's not just go here, kill this. It's like, you know, there's this vibe of go, you know, the eavesdropping missions are great because they really engage that stealth feel of it, that sort of blending into the world. The fact that you can kind of blend in anywhere instead of like having to find the pack of people who look exactly like you and then that's when you can stealth, you know what I mean? Which was the first one was a little bit more like that. It was great. I mean, I really had a blast. I mean, it's just more of what Dan said. I loved it. And the traversal in the trees.
I'm gonna be a little counterpoint to you guys. I texted Dan 3-4 hours into my game experience and said, I don't like this game. I really don't like this game.
Interesting.
And I feel that beginning thing that you guys, you know, people have called a tutorial, you guys were calling a prologue. It really is, for me, was a huge speed bump of get past that and the game takes off. After I became Connor, the character that I, you know, bought the game to play as.
Right, I know, that's what's crazy, but I like
love
that about
guy.
it.
I love that.
But I understand the point, but I freaking loved it about it.
But it's not just that, oh, I'm playing a character I didn't expect to be playing. That can be cool.
Yeah.
It's more that the stuff I was doing wasn't fun.
Man, I
Isn't it
love
kind of the same stuff,
I love the
It
boat
isn't.
travel.
Other than
the figuring
trees.
out what's happening
It's
on the
'cause
boat,
trees.
being on that boat crossing the Atlantic. That
It was run to
was
the next
awesome.
spot, hit a button, run to the next spot, hit a button. It felt very constrained and it didn't seem like the actual things that I was doing were fun. And then all of a sudden, you start this epic story from a childhood perspective and you are in that experience and you're outdoors and the whole world is opened up and you're doing things that you've never done before in an Assassin's Creed game, never done before in any video game, hunting in a way that a game has never done.
Really good,
Incredibly fun and varied, and there's always different options on how you can hunt. I was completely sucked in, and then you're doing ship stuff, and the story really takes off in an interesting way, and I'm doing the things that I love from Assassin's Creed, which is finding the eagle points and synchronizing and, exploring the world.
Love synchronizing.
Dude, synchronizing is so
Although,
great.
how
Like
do
when
you
we
guys-
synchronize our swatches.
How do you guys feel? I want to ask you a question, but I don't want to. I want you to be
Too
able to
late.
speak.
You already go ahead.
Are you ready
Derail.
for it? How do you guys feel about? There's a lot of different like optional to-dos with the mission that you can fail or not get.
Yeah.
And my soul hurt every time I couldn't do them, but they were more difficult than any other Assassin's Creed thing. I always, if I failed it, I would just go back and do it and it was fine. These were like, there's so many optional things, it was like, I don't know if I could go back and do all of that, and like, wow, that's really challenging.
The thing that was
but
great
there was
about
something
those,
cool about like, if I just forget about it, it's like,
Yeah.
it'll be cool if I do it, and I'll get the extra XP.
and that's
if
kind of
not-
how I started getting
But
to
it's
it.
in red and
Yeah, no, I
makes me
know.
feel
but
bad.
It does, but it does. Early on, I was like, I got to nail all these optional things, and then when I started realizing, oh, I can still progress.
Right.
Then it was sort of like, I want to do it. I try to do it.
Try it.
If I don't do it,
Don't kill
I'm okay and I
yourself.
move on.
Yeah, I was kind of.
And I was very surprised at that.
Overall, I was so impressed by the world building that they do. I mean, Rockstar is the only other company that even comes close to this, and this is world building on a scale and a scope that is absolutely astounding. And yes, the fact that it's a real place and a real time period is so interesting, and it's almost this weird, piece of candy that delivers the broccoli of history, to a whole generation of kids that are like, oh, history's kind of rad.
Yeah.
But I will say I did still have problems. Yes, that opening section really, I did not have fun. But also during the game, there's a lot of stuff that still makes me frustrated about this series. The combat is much improved, but it's still not great. There's way too often where I'm desyncing and having to do something over again because I had no idea what I was supposed to not do.
Yeah.
Like I'll fail something having no idea that I wasn't supposed to not do that.
Yep.
And it's so learning by failing, which is never fun.
It doesn't happen tons of times, but it does happen enough that it really stands out.
I think it's because those
Agreed.
things pop, those issues pop in the left corner sometimes too quick, and you're like, whoa, what was that? There's no way to access that again.
And there's no way to load back and go, oh, well, now I know.
Yeah.
So now,
I hear that.
Also, I ran into a lot of glitches, I have to say. I don't know if you guys experienced this. I ran into a lot of glitches. Like ones where I had to literally turn off my Xbox and turn it back on because my guy was like stuck like this.
Oh, I didn't do any of that. Yeah.
And I have pictures I took some pictures on my phone of like weird stuff that was happening that I thought was funny. But open world games are sort of, that's common there. It is a spectacular visual treat, and I played it in 3D, which I loved. And I did not love playing 3D in Uncharted or Gears because I felt like you sacrifice visual fidelity. And here, I was switching back and forth and trying to find jaggies, trying to find some difference, and I was not able to. It is beautiful in 3D. You fall into those scenic vistas, and it's so great. I really hope more games do 3D. I feel like 3D has fallen out of vogue, sadly, because it was like the thing for a while, and now I loved playing it in 3D.
Cool.
This is a spectacular game
Assassin's Creed 3?
with some flaws.
Yeah. All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this, but first we want to thank our sponsor. Carbonite Online Backup is automatic cloud backup for your computer files at your home office or small business. Just set it up once and Carbonite will protect your computer files so that you can stay focused on running your business. No hardware required. With
great.
Carbonite, getting your lost files back is super easy. Your employees can even access their backed up files they're like on their smartphone or iPad with the free Carbonite app.
The cool thing
Mike
about
just kind of exploded a little bit.
the cool thing about this is
all
that
right.
it's literally something that you don't ever have to think about.
I love it. You set it up once, you never have to think about it again, which is amazing.
It's a hard thing to advertise, kind of, because it's like, hey,
It's a thing
Get
that
this
you
thing
just
that
set
just-
up and then
you
just
don't wanna
worry
think about
it.
us. You don't
It's
wanna
like
think about-
LoJack for your computer
Yeah.
files. Carbonite is the better backup plan for your home office or small business. Start your free trial at Carbonite.com with the offer code TRS, and you'll get 2 bonus months if you decide to buy. That's Carbonite.com. The offer code for the 2 bonus months is TRS. That's it for today's episode. We will see you mañana.
Oh, my favorite email.
Join us tomorrow for our review of Darren Brown, Apocalypse.
Today's Twitter question, sent in with the. I'm just trying something.
I like
think
it.
I don't know. Sent
It was
in,
kind of a ninja thing.
sent in with the hashtag TRSQ. Yes, is from @HeyJolty. Aliens visit Earth, and you're sent in as a greeter. What is your plan?
Isn't that the premise to our show?
It is actually.
Aliens from the
We
planet
review
of
movies and,
Yeah.
and give them video games. What would you do? What would you do besides, poop yourself?
You're sent in as a greeter to aliens.
You're the guy. Ship lands.
You gotta be respectful.
Respect.
But also,
stern.
you kind of look them in the eye, right? Whoop.
If you can find them. If you can find
It's kind of like if
Where am I supposed to look? Why are you looking at my
There's a
Gordops?
wolf in the forest. You gotta be respectful. But
Yep.
you gotta show him who's boss.
Yep.
I think I'd go in guns blazing with Klaatu, Verata, and Nikto.
Oh, damn.
go out right out
That's
there
how we
with
start
it.
wars.
No, the
World
words.
Galactic
I don't mean
wars.
actually guns blazing.
Oh, you mean just
I
saying
mean,
Klaatu?
right away. They're like,
too?
all right. Yeah.
So you basically just say, get off my planet?
No, those were wasn't those the like kill switch word where it's like
Yeah, they
we won't hurt you? Wasn't that it?
I don't think that's what that was at all.
I mean that was in Army of Darkness. That's how we used it. All right, I'm clearly not the guy to send in to greet.
I would put on some sort of spooky, ugly mask.
And they'd be like,
And
no,
then I
this
would
is how
go
we
up-
look.
Yeah, I'd be like, bah, I'm just kidding, guys. Welcome. Earth is really cool.
That's good.
I'm hoping that
Everybody's cool here. No guns.
I would walk in and be like, all right, who wants to procreate?
Probe me.
No, that's not what I was
Yeah, I
saying.
think you'd be more like,
I'd be like,
all
who
right.
wants to procreate?
I'm gonna back into this. I'm gonna
You guys
back
have to
in,
listen
so
to all
I'm not
the syllables
threatening.
that I say.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
It's
This is
going
how
on.
I get probed every time. No one lets me finish my sentence.
They're like, the guy who can't really get a word in, let's probe that guy.
But I didn't want to
I was saying no
I was saying
probe.
pro football.
Did someone say probe? Wink. Oh, guys, nobody said probe. Oh.
I said probation period. No.
I said prohibition on destroying aliens.
Classic alien misunderstanding.
Oh, never back butt first into an alien spaceship. We all know that. Thank you, Hijalti.